Hello and welcome to Tay Shay. Today we are doing a stitch tutorial where I'm going to show you how to do this adorable bobble stitch. These are so fun to do. You can create such fun fabrics with something like this, and they're also really fun if you're doing amigurumi to add like a little tail or a little nose if you don't want to sew other parts on, so it's super fun. This is one of those stitches that you see in really cool projects all the time and you're like, whoa, how did they do that? It's not that hard. It's actually a very easy stitch to do if you know the basics of a double crochet. So if you don't know the basics of a double crochet, you may want to go and find the double crochet tutorial on this channel and just go over that a few times and make sure that you know how to do a double crochet, and then we will go over the bobble stitch super duper easy. So to do a stitch like the bobble, what you're going to need: yarn, hook, potentially scissors and a tapestry needle. Good to go. For this, I'm going to be using this pretty purple yarn and a 5mm hook because that is the recommended hook size for this yarn. And I'm going to be starting by chaining 13 stitches across and then doing a row of single crochet to the other side, so you'll have 12 stitches total. The reason for this is you need to have those base rows, definitely a row of single crochet, because if you don't, your bobble stitch will poke out a little bit from the row of the stitches here, and it's just gonna look a little bit weird. You kind of want that to have a little bit of a base layer to grow from. So I'm gonna do a chain 13, single crochet 12 on the way back, and then I'll meet you back here in a second. Okay, so we have our 12 single crochets here, and we're just gonna chain one, turn our work, like you would for any simple project. And then I'm going to put a single crochet in that first stitch so that we have a little bit of space between the bobble and the edge. Like I said, you don't really want the bobble to be poking out. So we do one single crochet there just to keep a little bit of space. And then we're going to work our first bobble into the next stitch. So for a bobble stitch, what you're going to do is the first half of a double crochet, which sounds really weird, I know, until you have 6 loops on your hook. So right now we have 1 loop on our hook, and we're going to yarn over, insert our hook into the next stitch and pull up a loop. So then you have 3 loops on your hook, and then you are going to yarn over and pull through 2 of those loops. Okay, so then you have 2 loops on your hook. We're going to leave both of those loops on our hook and then do that again. So yarn over, insert your hook into that stitch, pull up a loop, and then yarn over, pull through 2 for 3 loops on your hook. Okay, we'll do that again to get to 4. So pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 for 4 loops on your hook. You can see you're getting a bunch of little sections here that are all going to turn into that bobble. So we're at 4, so we'll yarn over, insert into that same stitch, pull up your loop, and then yarn over, pull through 2. So we're now at 5, and then we can go ahead and do it one more time, insert into that same stitch. So now we have all of those, and then pull through 2. And then we're going to have 6 loops on our hook there. And once you get to this point, you have to yarn over and pull through all 6 loops on your hook. And this can feel a little bit difficult at first, but it gets a lot easier when you realize the kind of tension you need for it. You don't want to make these too tight, because if you make them too tight, they're going to be very hard to pull through. So you can just yarn over, so grab onto that yarn and pull through all 6 stitches. And you can see that's going to create this cool stitch that's going to turn into that bobble. But to be able to finish this, you have to single crochet in the next stitch. So your hook's going to be all the way here at the top, but to get that true like bobble shape, we're going to insert our hook into this next stitch here and just do a single crochet. So pull up a loop, 2 loops on the hook, and then single crochet. And then you can see we've got that first little bump effect happening. And then we can do a bobble stitch into the next one. So that's what, if you're looking for something like this, where there's just 1 single crochet in between, that's what you would do. You can put any amount of single crochets in between as long as you're single crocheting immediately after your bobble stitch. So we'll do bobbles all the way across. So we'll get 5 in our first row. We're going to go ahead and do 1 in the next one. So yarn over and do that first half of your double crochet. To get 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, 4 loops, and then pull through 2. So we have 3, and we just repeat that process until you get 6 loops on your hook. And you're just doing the first half of a double crochet. It sounds more complicated than it actually is, and it can be a little bit intimidating the very first time you see it. I remember being a beginner crocheter and being like, anything that looked interesting or cool, I can't do that. I can single and double crochet and make simple squares, and that is very sad. You really just want to try stuff and see how easy it actually is. So now we have all 6 of those loops on our hook. We're going to yarn over and pull through. Oop. And don't worry if that honestly happens to me all the time where I pull a little too aggressively. You can just slowly pull that yarn out and then still get your hook back in all those loops instead of having to redo it. Just be a little bit slower. These things happen to me all the time, even though I've been doing this for years. So now we have this where you can see all of those little half double crochets, half of a double crochet stitch, not half double crochets. You know what I mean. And then our yarn is up here. So then we're going to single crochet into that next stitch. And then so you can see this one's poking this way, this one decided it wanted to go that way, you can just poke them out. Poke it, and then it'll go and be a bobble on that side. So then we can do another bobble in the next stitch, just doing the first half of that double crochet stitch over and over again. And we're going to be doing this 5 times. And then I'll show you what you need to do for the next row if you want to make a piece of fabric that is just covered in bobble stitches. So that's 5 on my hook, and then we'll get number 6. Okay, and then pull through all 6 and be a little bit more careful than I was. And then do that single crochet in the next one. So you can finish your bobble stitches across, and then I'll meet you back at the end. So you should have 1 stitch left there at the end, and we are going to single crochet into that last stitch, chain 1, and turn our work. And to make this kind of a fabric, what we need to do is single crochet across the entire next row so that your bobbles have enough space. If you decide that you're going to put bobbles right here, you're not going to be able to see them kind of as distinctly. If you do them in the next row, it's going to not look as nice as if you put that single crochet row in between. So we're going to chain 1 and turn our work. And what we want to do here is single crochet into that first stitch. Okay, and then single crochet into the next one. And you're looking at the back of your bobbles here. And it can be a little bit confusing because you don't really know what you're looking at. The bobble stitch is going to be this really long V here that you can see here. I'll put my hook underneath so you can get a better view of that. It's this really long V, the longer stitch. You can see the next stitch is a lot shorter. It's just a little one, and that is the bobble stitch. So we're going to single crochet into that as well, and then go in and just single crochet across all of those. And what that does is it gives you that little bit of space around. And when we put the bobbles in the next one, it will fill in some of those gaps and make it look like there's not as much space as there is. It will look very good, I promise. So we'll just continue to single crochet across all of our stitches. And if you want that piece of fabric, that beautiful pink bobble look, we're going to be doing the bobble stitch into the single crochet stitch that's in between the 2 bobbles so that they aren't on top of each other. And the reason for this is if they're on top of each other, it's going to look really uniform and not look as like fun and quirky as this can. I find that having them with that single crochet stitch holding the next bobble just makes them, I don't know, it feels more random, even though nothing in crochet is random. We think about everything and it's just super duper cute. So we'll finish this single crochet row across, just single crocheting, and then we'll finish the row with a chain and turn as well. So then that was the single crochet for the last bobble there, and then we'll go into that first single crochet that we did in that row, chain 1 and turn. And if your bobbles decide that they want to kind of push themselves in, you can just poke them back out. It's kind of fun because if you wanted to have like a reversible fabric, you could poke them and have them be like one that way, one that way. It is fun. It's kind of quirky and cool. So your work should be looking something like this, where you have that row of bobble stitches and then the single crochet row. Now we're going to do a little bit different than that first row, where we're going to single crochet twice and then do the bobble stitch. And this might look like it's the stitch that's right above here, but it's not, I promise. Because in that first row, what we did was a single crochet and then a bobble stitch. So it would be this stitch to make them go right on top of each other. Since all of those stitches are in that one bobble, it kind of shifts it to the left a little bit. So we're going to single crochet 2 at the beginning here, 1 and 2, and then we're going to put that bobble stitch into the third single crochet, and then we'll continue the single crochet bobble stitch pattern. So we can do the bobble stitch where we're just going to do half of a double crochet over and over again until we get 6 loops on our hook. So we'll yarn over, insert into that stitch, and pull up a loop till you have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2. And do that over and over until you end up with 6 loops on the hook. Okay, so there's 4, number 5, and number 6. Okay, so they should be looking like this, and then we're just going to yarn over and pull through all 6 loops on your hook, and then make sure that you keep this nice and tight, because if you do it like this, you're going to end up with a really loose bobble. You want to make sure that this stays tight so that it pulls as much of that down as it possibly can to make the bobble nice and tight. And you can see there that your bobble is just going the opposite stitch so that it gives it that fun texture. But that is how easy it is to do these bobble stitches. The things you need to remember is that you're doing half of a double crochet until you have 6 loops on your hook, pull through all 6 and make sure you single crochet in between or else your bobbles won't be bobbling. And also do a row of single crochet in between so that you make sure that it gives it enough space to really be a bobble. You know, you don't want them to be too close together, then they'll get all squished and they'll just not look as cute. I absolutely love using bobble stitches in like baby blankets, sometimes on bags. I've seen someone who makes these bags that are like, there's like a rainbow one. I absolutely love it. And they're completely made up of bobble stitches, which is such a fun concept. You can do so much with this stitch, and it's just fun to add to anything to make it more interesting. But if you enjoyed this tutorial, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this one. If you're looking for fun patterns that are super beginner friendly, you can check out my Etsy, which is always linked in the description down below. And I really hope you're having an amazing day. Thank you so much for letting me share my favorite craft with you. And I really, really hope that you're having a good day and that the bobble stitch made it a little bit better. See you next time. Bye, everybody.